No, now we're rolling.
Now we're rolling. It's a really tough job being a videographer.
I know. I missed the button the first time, so...
Okay. Smooth as ever. Alright, let's go. Hi everyone, it's Mesh from Pace Ventures. We're here with the lovely David Fletcher, founder of Wimbletech CIC. David, thank you for having us.
Pleasure to be here.
So what is Wimbletech?
So Wimbletech is a response to an issue that I had almost 18 months ago, which was affordable space close to where I lived. So I was working on a startup. I got some funding through Seeders, and I went off to India. I built a team. I came back. The mobile app that we created won an award, and I was working in Starbucks, which wasn't very award-winning. Neither the coffee nor the context for growing my business. So I had a challenge. I was traveling across London going to Google campus, which was amazing, but the time and the cost for me had a huge, the opportunity cost of that was massive. So I needed somewhere locally to work. It was one afternoon when I said, enough's enough, I can't work in the coffee shop, I'm not being effective, let's try and find somewhere. And I went around pubs, I went around community centres, I went everywhere locally that was close to where I lived. So I had an agenda which was try and find somewhere within 10 minutes walk. And the library was 5 minutes walk. And I looked in there, and I'm quite familiar with the library space, and I know that libraries are struggling across the UK with revenue, with footfall and with awareness and relevance of their services. So I approached the council, Merton Council, spoke to their heritage and economic development teams and said, guys, are you prepared to try something different, which might be a space that fuses Google campus with the South Bank? So bringing all that kind of co-working and community stuff to one place that's in a good location in the centre of somebody's town, and they said, try it. And that was the kind of genesis of Wimbletech CIC and our first room above Wimbledon Library.
Fantastic. And so Wimbletech as an organisation, what does it stand for? What is your ethos?
Yeah, the ethos is to put people ahead of profit. What that means is there's a lot of spaces that perhaps are, and right, so, they're for-profit businesses, they're run by shareholders, they've had huge investments, and they have to maximise the yield on the desks, on their spaces, on the rooms, to maximise the return for their investors and their shareholders. I wanted to do something that was a bit different. Startups like myself, I had a limited amount of seed funding, and I had to be very careful about how I spent that money. So one of the biggest costs for startups is affordable space. Yeah. So I figured actually, how much am I spending in Starbucks? And I worked it out. I said, well, it's about £4 or £5 perhaps for a tea or a coffee. If I'm feeling a bit generous to myself, maybe I'll have a cake. It's £6, £7 perhaps if I'm there all day. If I'm doing that 5 or 6 days a week, that's adding up to 150 quid. So if I can replace that 150 pounds, and not to mention the inefficiencies of working in that context, screaming kids, poor Wi-Fi, struggling to get a place you can put your bum, someone knocking your coffee over, all those things, that costs me a lot. And when I'm not doing that, if you're travelling across London, then that's an added cost. So I figured if I could create something that was less than £150, that had unlimited tea, had unlimited coffee, that was an amazing space, but also had the benefits of an amazing community of like-minded. So instead of having the mums and the kids and the school around you, you actually had other people who were working on their businesses. If you could put that together, then you kind of amplify the value of the space. So the vision was to create that space and give back locally as well by doing free events, like hackathons and things. So as a community interest company, and as a kind of putting community and people first as ahead of profit, that's kind of our ethos. It was, well, how do we do that? What's the tangible outputs? Well, affordable desk space is one thing, an amazing community of like-mindeds together is another thing, but then the free events within the library spaces where kids can come along, learn to develop, learn to code, around people who've done that stuff for years, is probably quite a good thing. And so that's kind of, the vision is to marry all that stuff, put people and community ahead of profit, but make it sustainable. So the challenge with these things is you can sell anything at the wrong price, you can give anything away and people will take it. It has to be sustainable so that you can cover your costs, because obviously with any business, whether you're a CIC, you're a charity or for profit, you're going to have costs and you need to cover those and remain open. Absolutely. And we're still open.
Fantastic.
Which is good, yeah.
And so tell us about this wonderful space and some of the other spaces you have dotted around.
Yeah, so we started off so you're currently sat in above Wimbledon Library. So right beneath us is Wimbledon Reference Library. So if you kind of bang on the floor, someone down there might shout and complain, but they probably won't because there's lots of screaming kids down there, so they'll probably annoy you, which is good for us. So yeah, the space that we started in was one room, one room above one of the libraries. It was used as a meeting space. They used to rent it out, but they didn't really get huge revenue for it. So we started there. It had nothing. And this is quite funny, it really had nothing. It had one power socket. I'm probably going to breach some health and safety things, so I'll be careful. It had one power socket, it had lighting, it didn't have a lock. So I set up in that room and I said, I'm going to give free tea and coffee straight off the bat, which I'll pay for. And I'll take a kettle from the library staff kitchen, I'll put it in the room, and we'll find out if anyone would like to join us. Now, what I didn't realise was that libraries, you have lots of different types of people coming in there, okay? So you have homeless people. So what I found very quickly was that by providing free tea and coffee and bananas and biscuits, I had a queue of people who were homeless who knew that I was giving out free stuff. So they would come up, they would walk straight into the space, I'd have 3 chairs and they'd say hi, and I'd say, hello, are you working on a startup or are you setting up a business? They go, oh, we're doing some stuff, okay. I guess you want a biscuit? They'd say, yes, I'll take a biscuit. So I'd give them the biscuit and I'd give them the banana and they'd sit there all day. All day. Couldn't say anything until the library closed. And at the end of the day, I'd say, oh, hi guys, see you tomorrow. Can I take a banana on my way? Yes, you can take a banana. But I had the space, which was a start. I went over to Starbucks. I'm probably name dropping Starbucks a bit too much, giving them a lot of credit, but they, they help a lot of people to begin with, but you just need to do something a bit differently when you are getting serious about your business. I went over to Starbucks. I saw Christian Vanberg from Norway. I can't do a Norwegian accent. He's got a beautifully funny, it's almost like a song the way he sings. And I saw him sat there with the stickers, coding stickers on his laptop, and he was working away. I said, you look like you're doing something startup related. And he said, I am. I said, how's it working out for you in Starbucks? He said, terribly. I've only come here because I've just had a kid, the kid's screaming, I've come here, there's more kids screaming, the coffee's not that great, I'm struggling. I said, I think I have a solution for you. Myself and a few homeless people are over in this library, we've created a tech campus and startup campus. Would you like to join us? He said, oh yes, I'd like to join you. It's good. My Norwegian accent.
That's a terrible accent.
Okay, I should stay away from accents, stick to co-working communities, which I think I'm better at. So we came over, Christian walked into the room with the 3 homeless people sat there eating bananas, opened the door. This doesn't look very much like a tech campus. I said, it's not yet. Okay, so Christian was with us 2 years ago, and since then we've grown through the space with the help of members, so we operate very leanly. So we started in one room, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 members. I said to the members, we need some more space. Can you help me decorate and transform a bigger space across the top of the library? Yes, we can. We're going to roll up our sleeves and we'll get stuck in. I said to the council, look, I think this is working. We're generating jobs. We've transformed the space. We're running free events and have done every single other Saturday since we opened in the library. Can you help us? And they said, yes, we can. So Anthony Hopkins was amazing at Merton Council. Merton Council generally, just kind of a shout out, they were very progressive in their thinking. It's a different type of thing, especially 2 years ago, to start thinking about testing these things. But they were very for it, as was Eric Asai, who was in the Futures team for Merton, who said, this could be great because not only will you help the libraries and heritage guys with revenue, relevance and new activities in the libraries and their service, you're going to help us with jobs, with inward investment, with keeping people in the borough they live in, which is actually quite important because a lot of people will commute an hour into London or across London and come to and from and back. Now if you cost, in the future, people will look back at that and they'll laugh. They'll say, how on earth was it that society functioned where the majority of people were stuck doing the same journey for however long, every single day, for the majority of their working lives? That's not going to, people will not understand that. It's changing.
Yeah.
Working and living locally is a big thing. If you save an hour, 2 hours on your day, spend that in the gym, spend that with your kids, spend that growing your business, that's valuable. And Wimbledon Library in the heart of Wimbledon was something that allowed us to do that. And we went from the 1 room to 2 rooms to 3 rooms in partnership with the libraries and Merton Council. And then 50, 60, 70, 80 members, 90, 100, 110, 120, wow. 140, 150 members we have now, all working in the space, all collaborating, all connecting, all sharing, helping each other grow their businesses. And we've got a spread of companies that have raised 80 million down to companies that are one-man bands that are just hustling. They've taken a sabbatical and they're saying, I'd like to be around other people that are doing exciting stuff because it might inspire me, and I'm going to work for 6 months in your space to see if it works. And they can do that from £65 a month, which includes unlimited tea and coffee and no screaming children. So it's it stacks up. Yeah.
And so in terms of the dynamic of the companies here, are they a specific sector? Are they all tech? Or is it a mixture?
It's a real mixture. So we've got some guys at Emily Tech. We've got a couple of fintech companies. We've got companies, so Postmates, they took a desk here. So obviously you guys know them, it's kind of delivery as a service. We've got nanny agencies who actually, although that's what you might think is low tech, You could do Uber for nanny. I mean, these guys are so close. They've got such a great, huge, big database of nannies that they might be able to transform and adapt and use some of the skills and the platforms that other companies have used to grow. But we have all sorts. We have catering companies. We have events companies. We have fashion designers. You know, we've got lingerie. A lady who's just joined, who's Nicola. She's pretty amazing. She's very creative, and she originally perhaps thought or wasn't aware of these sorts of spaces locally. So I don't know where somebody who was designing lingerie would actually go to work. She came into Wimbletech, she saw the people around her and said, actually, you know, I kind of need the web stuff, I need some of the tech perhaps to help me. And she's working on some crazy different types of things in underwear. So she was looking at, could you have underwear that if you clapped, fell off? So that's
interesting.
Quite interesting.
Quite niche.
Quite niche, but it's those kind of things. But she's around people who can make that happen. So with the hackathons that we run every other weekend, where people are very technical and not so technical, but they come together, she can speak to these guys and say, oh, is that possible? And they'll probably say, yes, it is. Get a Raspberry Pi, get something that's whether it's motion sensitive, and we can build that into the clothing. So it's a real mix and a real spread. And our challenge is making sure that everybody within this space and the spaces that we've opened since know each other.
Fantastic.
And that's about the community.
So touching on that community point, given you have such an interesting space and quite a lot of members, how do you engage them all and build that community feel? Yeah,
so we have kind of a few key events that we run. So one of those events that we've done since we started is the Bytes session. So you've got Wimbletech Bytes, and that's Wimbletech Bytes, but in Chiswick it's the work with Chiswick Bytes. So I guess we'll come to the different sites later, but just starting back at kind of the DNA and the original site in Wimbledon. Bytes, you give 5 minutes about something that you know a lot about. For me, or that you've done. So for me, I've raised some money on Seeders. I can do lean startup fairly well. I've done marketing for Sony. I've helped advise big brands on mobile strategy, the Bank of America, Telegraph Media Group. So I know some of this stuff, and I do a lot of stuff to do with lifepreneuring, which is just about how do you become a better version of yourself. So I know some stuff. So I give 5 minutes, a nugget, like an espresso shot of knowledge in the morning on a Byte session for 5 minutes. And in a Byte session, you have 4 other people who do the same. So you have 5 minutes, times 4, maybe 20 minutes, that's it, where people just say, this is my thing, I'm going to tell you all. And in return for giving a Byte, an espresso shot of your knowledge, a nugget, you get, if there's 150 members, you give 5 minutes, and you get 149 times 5 minutes back. So it's you give a little and you receive an enormous amount. It's not obligatory. We do ask everybody to give a Byte when they join. But we really encourage that stuff. So that's one of our main events. The second main event is the Hour of Power. So the Hour of Power basically says, look guys, we're all facing different challenges. Sometimes you're not going to have the answer, but the people around you might. So the Hour of Power is, you come into a room and you divide that, so say there's 10 people and you've got an hour. You divide that time by 10, so you'd have 6 minutes each. And for 6 minutes, the floor would be yours. So you would introduce yourself, you'd say, hi, my name is, this is my company, and you say my biggest challenge is whatever it is, raising funds, marketing, securing content, getting distribution, for awareness, building a team, whatever it could be. You say this is my challenge, and everyone else around then has the rest of the time that's allocated to you in the 6 minutes, so maybe you've got 5 minutes left, to talk about what you might be able to do. That's invaluable. I'll give you a very specific example. There was a guy who came in who does theatre packages. It's called Celebrate London, so if you're online, check out Celebrate London.
We'll put the links in.
Celebrate London, really, really good. And I've been on a couple of their theatre and dinner packages, amazing. So I went to see Memphis with Beverly Knight, who actually is very, very good. I didn't realise quite how good, but when you actually hear someone, and it's not through kind of your iPhone or something else, and it's actually live, it's a different sound. And when someone recreates that kind of stereoscopic, full, immersive sound, they'll be able to win it, and I'll invest in them. But they were struggling with data. They had lots of data coming into their business. They were struggling with managing all of that. So they were very much in their business as opposed to working on their business. But they wanted to grow. But they had demands. They had a good problem. They just had too much data. And they said, oh, I've got this data and spreadsheets. What the bloody hell do I do? And the guy next to him, who was a developer, said, you do realise you can actually write a script to automate a lot of that donkey work and a lot of that stuff that isn't the best use of you out. Oh, I can't do that. It's going to time and money, and who do I trust to do that? So well, how much money do you think it's going to cost? Maybe £500, £1,000, which doesn't sound a lot, but to a startup, that's quite a chunk of change out of their bottom line. And the guy said, no, it'll cost you a cup of coffee. I'll come and sit with you this afternoon, I'll write you a script. And that's what he did. So he sat with him, he worked on a script, It cost him a cup of coffee. It didn't actually cost him a cup of coffee because we provided the coffee. So it cost us a cup of coffee.
Amazing.
And they wrote the script. And as a result, the guy went on to so Ben from Celebrate London went on to hire 2 apprentices, and he's growing his business and he's taking some time off. That's it's about facilitating people's lives, and not everyone is going to want to create the next Facebook, or they're going to want to create something that enables their life. So it's that's why I say we have that spread. But things like the hour of power and the bites just sets the tone in this place, saying look, there's a wide range. Come and say hello, introduce yourself, get involved in these events, and then at the end of the month we do a mixer, which is you're going to have a beer. It's you're going to have a beer, you share some wine. We do Christmas parties, we're going to do a summer bash as well, and we do that on each individual site. And we also do that collectively as of this year for all the sites. And we have football teams, we have sports events, and we say to anyone, if you want to run those things, please do so. We shouldn't have to incur the cost of employing someone to run those things, because actually it's good for everyone. So if someone would like to take ownership for that, that's brilliant. And that's about the values, that's about the DNA, that's about community. And the community should become kind of self-sufficient. And that way, that's how you run very lean, and that's how you keep costs out. When people believe in the space and believe in what they're doing, they're way more likely to give back.
Yeah.
And that's kind of our values.
Absolutely, and I think it's a fantastic space, so congratulations on what you've been doing. And I really want to touch on the fact that this isn't just the only space you have. You've taken that DNA and you've spread wide. Where are you now? How many spaces do you have?
Yeah, so we the challenge was so when you're doing anything, it's can you scale? Whether it's a start, and whether it's a tech play or non-tech play, it's can you grow your business?
Yeah.
And the answer for this thing, it seemed quite franchisable, but without being franchised, we don't want to sell this off and make a profit. And there was some suggestions that we could set this up as a different arms for profit, and it's not what it's about. It's about people ahead of profit. It's about growing the network in a sustainable way. So we realised that we had some data. From 18 months, we capture all the data about the space and about the members and about the engagement and the process. And we thought if we can bottle that or kind of replicate, we can copy and paste, and we can bring the same great benefits to communities elsewhere and libraries elsewhere, and crucially underlisted or underutilised, public space elsewhere. So we can really kind of grow these communities if we have a model that can scale. So we tested it in Chiswick. So we couldn't do it under the Wimbletech brand. So Wimbletech is a CIC, but under Wimbletech there's actually 3 brands. So you have Wimbletech, which is the Wimbledon space above Wimbledon Library, and then we realised we actually needed a different brand to go across these other spaces. And we were thinking, well, what is that brand? It's a workspace in a public library. It's the Workery. So the brand was the Workery. And then it'd be the Workery Chiswick or Hamwell or wherever else. So that's the second brand, and the third brand is Wimbletech, which is our first non-library space, which I guess I'll come back to. But the Workery brand, we tried it and piloted it in Chiswick. So for councils, we say, we think we can create real value in your libraries, in the underutilised space. Here's a model, here's how we'll do it, here's the outputs we'll generate, is that of interest? If it is, let's pilot it for 6 months. At 6 months, it's stop or it's close. Oh sorry, it's stop or it's go.
Yeah.
Go, it should be go. And not every space will get to a go, but we can profile the spaces before we start to see and give ourselves the best chance of it being a go.
You're essentially doing a pilot.
We're piloting at every space. So we piloted at Chiswick, and the challenge at Chiswick was to try to get, I think our number was 15 members within 6 months. So we don't need huge spaces. I mean, this is people ahead of profit. It's in the libraries. It doesn't need to be the world's biggest building. It needs to be a certain size to be able to run it, of course. The minimum space is probably the first room that we had in Wimbledon. So in Chiswick, we got 14 applications on day one. So we've now got, we're a few months in at Chiswick, we've fundamentally transformed the underutilised space that they had that was used for storage, and we've now got 45 members there. A wide range of different people who we connect to all the members at Wimbledon. So 150, 45, there's 200 members on 2 sites. So we Chiswick, the Workery Chiswick, we opened a space in Hamwell, the Workery Hamwell. Now Hamwell Library it's in Ealing. It's quite small, and we've spent time just refining it so that it feels the same as here. It has the greenery, it has the ethos, it has the quotes, it has the right mix of. It has the bonsai tree. There's a bonsai tree in here. It has
We're surrounded by bonsai.
We're surrounded, and actually this is a bit staged. We've moved some of these things, and the water bottle, which was going to come into shot, but apparently according to the videographer, it needs to go back out of shot. So we've got water and other things.
It's still in shot as well.
It's still in shot. It's just there, but we're in shot, which is what matters. And
I hope so.
I think so. As is this thing. But yeah, the feel is the same across the sites. The Workery CIC, we piloted it. It has the bonsai trees. It has the great members, and we're not about desks. You'll not hear me mention desk space. It's not about that. It's about community. It's about something that delivers massive value to you. And it might be you have a fixed space which is your own, or you have a flexi space that you can just access. And then you've got access to all of the members, and then you've got access to the wider network of the VIPs, which is people who want to invest, people who want to mentor, and we're growing that wider network. So if anybody does want to, so I don't know who might watch this, but if anybody does have some skills they'd like to share, you might want to use a space, obviously come to us, but if you have skills that you can share with people who are entrepreneurs in your local community, please sign up to our VIP program on the website and join us. But so we have the Workery CIC, which is working fantastically, the Workery Hanwell, a small space that we have members, and we're just trying to get that going. So if you're in Hanwell, obviously, or in Ealing, let's work. Come to our space.
Yeah.
And then we've got the Workery Northolt, which is a challenge. It's a really tough area. We're struggling. That's the only space so far that's I don't know, but we'll play it by ear. And really realistic. If we need to close it, we will do, and we'll do it quickly. But hopefully, more good sites will pop up so that anybody, and this is the vision, anybody anywhere in London and outside of London can go to a Workery space, as opposed to commuting out of their town that they live in, and they can spend that extra time that they're saving with their kids, at the gym, with their family, or growing their business. So we've got so many Workery CIC, Workery Hanwell, Workery Northolt. We've just opened Workery Rainham, which is our furthest east, so it's the end of is that the district line? That'll be at the end.
I'm going to say district or Hammersmith and City.
Yeah, end of the district, I think. So you've got London Borough of Havering, have just piloted a very small space, but it's lovely. We've got our first few members there. So that opened last week. So that's kind of the 4. You've got Wimbledon, which is 5, and our latest one is Wimbletech. So Wimbletech it's in Rickmansworth. Do you guys know Rickmansworth?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's in the Hertfordshire. It's a district within Hertfordshire, northwest London. Go around the M25, past the M3, past the M4, then come in a little bit.
Met line all the way.
Is the Met line? Yeah. Is not the Bakerloo as well?
Quite possibly is.
Maybe I'm not. Yeah, but it's connected. So it is on a tube line. But they had a beautiful, beautiful building that was empty for 3 years. And they had an organisation that was looking to run something in that space for quite a lot of money and transform it. They all came to Wimbletech, said, wow, this is the councillors. They said, can we do something similar in a non-library building in Rickmansworth? I said, yes, you can. We can copy and paste the DNA, and we can do it ultra leanly. So we can. So they said, what is ultra lean? What does that mean? Give us some data. So for example, Wimbledon, 150 members across 2 large zones. That cost us in total seed funding from the council about 30k. So but if you looked at if they were to set up a space of their own, they're going to spend way more. But we kept it very lean by using our tech guys to create the infrastructure, from the Wimbledon guys to create help with the infrastructure, by going out and buying all the stuff ourselves, by buying from charity shops, by asking people in the local community if they could contribute. That's how we've done it very leanly. So we looked at Rickmansworth, said it's going to probably cost you similar. And they were looking to spend hundreds of thousands, but for tens of thousands, we think we could do similar. And we've just opened in Rickmansworth, and it's called Wimbletech. Stunning! It's live. We have our first few members. It has bonsai trees. It's a separate brand. It's a beautiful, beautiful space. And if you'd like to visit it, or anyone would like to visit it, or any of our spaces, just hop online. So the websites are wimbletech.space, wimbletech.com, and workery.com. Theworkery.com.
We'll put all of the links below in the video. So, final couple of questions. What are your thoughts on the future of where co-working is going? You touch on the fact that commuting long distances is awful and very painful.
Yeah.
Do you envisage a world where there are going to be hundreds, thousands of these workeries all around the country?
I think the future is communities. So I think that by and large, what's happened in a lot of London, you've got people throwing up lots and lots of flats to maximise the yield on their space within boroughs. And I think the thing that's just got left behind a little bit is community. And I think that the reason why libraries are so important is because libraries gave community. You have people going there for all different use cases. Yes, you have the homeless, but you have the kids who go in there for storytelling. You have the people who are trying to find a job going there for information and knowledge and and resources and access to stuff. The Workery as a brand and Wimbletech CIC, we help empower communities. What does that mean? We go into a space that is in a great location, and we create a different offer. That offer is, you know what, you want to try and set your business up? You can try it for £75 a month or £65 a month. And do you know what, if you're doing something that's really amazing and you can't afford it, we'll probably give you the space for free. It's that kind of ethos. And we tell everyone about that. We tell everyone in the library stuff work with us, it's a partnership thing. So it's a great space. and we run the free events, the community events within the library. More of that stuff is going to happen. So at Wimbledon Library, that original vision of South Bank meets Google Campus in the heart of local communities, we've been working with Merton Council to get some funds to create a mobile performance space in the library. So they'll do theatre shows, and again, it's about get people into the libraries, get people go beyond the bricks, beyond the building, and go into the community. But you need somewhere central for all that cool stuff to happen. And I think the workery is almost like with the library as a life centre in the highway. I think there should be one of those in every single town across the UK and potentially the world. I mean, I don't think this is we shouldn't be limited necessarily by London, because often a lot of discussions are, well, this works in London, and it starts on a microcosm in Shoreditch. Oh, we should do this in Shoreditch. Okay, well then we should do it in other boroughs. Well, actually, just let's open our minds a bit. Let's say if you can connect everyone, if it's of value, if you can empower communities, why should you not do that in every single community and have the option? So imagine a space where you've got these great centres that are helping people with affordable startup space, that amazing events, community events, amazing resources, and helping the libraries understand how they can better get people back into work, and by signposting through to the right, working with the librarians, and maybe help them evolve that role. These knowledge centres, these community centres. Yeah. That can be locally. It might be somewhere that kids go to game. There's no kids that come into these libraries above, teenagers. Where do the teenagers go? I don't know, maybe hang out. I don't know. When I was a teenager, which was a long time ago, I used to go and hang out down by the skate park with all my buddies, and we drink White Lightning, whatever the hell it was, or 2020, I think was the drink. That's not, if there's something better, if they can be in a space where they see people who are doing more with their lives, that's a powerful message. And I think we need to create those spaces, because I don't think they exist everywhere, and I think they should. So I see the future as these types of spaces across the UK where people get inspired and say, do you know what, life's too short, you're a long time pushing up daisies, let's do something with our life. But it's much easier when you see other people who are already doing it. Absolutely. And I think that's what we can do, and I think that's our vision. So we've got 10x vision. It was I said I'd close my startup if we got to 50 members. And so my for-profit startup was going to be worth millions, and I got 15 investors, it's going to be huge. I got one person in one room in Wimbledon, and I said, on day, would you pay for this space to Christian? And he said, I absolutely would. I said, okay, I think I've got a business here. A business as opposed to vaporware. Because a lot of people can get people to invest in things. So my idea, I was very passionate. I thought, the app was going to be amazing, and it well could have been. But I've got something over here that is for real, it's for community, it's not for profit. And I think just by testing it and by validating it and by growing it, then you can create something quite amazing. I think we've done that. I think there's more of that stuff that needs to happen, and we need more people like Christian coming out of the coffee shops. The future will be life centres, if you will, where people have more than just a job. They go into libraries that there's more than just the books, and that's kind of, I think I'm waffling quite a bit. I haven't had my coffee yet. I've had some tea and water, which I don't think is enough. Your original question was, somewhere back before I started gibbering, was about what do you think the future is. I think I answered that, but the question that came after, perhaps I didn't answer.
No, I think you did. You did.
We kind of might have got there just about. So the future, I think, invest in your life. One thing I was going to say about we were talking about the different use cases within centres was kids coming in and using those spaces. I'll give you a very good example of this, and kind of that inspiring people to become more than what they are. And this was about making the most of your life. We had the Eric Asai, who was he was the lead for investment and regeneration in Merton. He was a governor on school with kids from Tottenham, and he said, can we bring them in and can we show them some entrepreneur stuff? And they came to us having been brought around lots and lots of other businesses, and they were all half asleep and they were very uninspired, and they all had their hoods up, and they came in. I had a graveyard shift. They came to Wimbletech at the end of a long day for them, and they were I don't know what ages, I'm not very good with kids' ages. They're probably teenagers. They're probably 12, 13, 14, and they came in, and I had a presentation to show them. And the second they came in, I thought, these kids do not want to see a PowerPoint presentation. So I binned the presentation. I sat on the desk, we got them in the room, and we said, guys, welcome to Wimbletech. What do you want to do with your life? And they didn't really know. Not one of them could say, I want to do this. I said, okay, what's important? So let's go. That's a big question to ask a teenager. Let's go back a step. What's important to you? And we had some kids, oh, okay. My family, my girlfriend. Okay, that's cool. Your family and your friends are important to you. So what does that mean in terms of how you're going to live your life? What do you need to deliver value? What's going to be valuable that you can create? Money. I need to be able to give them money. Okay, we're getting somewhere. You need to create money. You need to create money. How are you going to do that? Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to go to university. I don't know what I'm going to do. There's a few options for kids that probably are quite well known that you can do to generate money, but they're not going to be that great for society or for themselves. That's okay. Let's talk about entrepreneurship. Let's talk about creating your own value. What are you interested in? Oh, I'm interested in quad bikes. Okay, quad bikes. Yeah, that's cool. Can you build a quad bike? Yeah, I can. Okay, cool. How much does it cost you to build a quad bike? I don't know, £200 parts from eBay. Okay, cool. £200. How much can you sell a quad bike for? £500. Okay, where can you sell it? On eBay. Okay, cool. How long does it take you to build it? I could do it in a weekend. Okay, so you told me in 2 days you can create value, cost of goods sold versus what you're selling. You know, 300 quid. You do that times 10.
Go do it.
You got a business, my friend. You can pay yourself a wage, and you can rent somewhere to look after your girlfriend and your kids when you have them. You can give some money to your mum for rent. You have something that you can do with your life. Let's talk about some other stuff. Let's talk about mobile tech. Who uses apps? Snapchat. Okay, cool. You create an app that you can make £1 on. And by the way, these mobile devices are in the hands of everyone in the world. Your market isn't UK, isn't your town. It's the world. Think bigger. You create something that you can generate £1 from every user. You get 1 million users. You've got £1 million business.
Yeah.
What would you do with £1 million? How would that change your life? How would that change your family's life? And that was really exciting. You know, getting people, that was really exciting. So where we're working with councils, we're going to try and get some of the school guys into the libraries, which they, you know, get them back into the libraries, but give them a different message. And the message is, guys, change your life. Do something that matters. Create value. The world will change for you. Again, and by the way, the evidence, the facts, the data. Here's some people who've done it, and we're not all university educated.
Yeah.
It's a very, you know,
very powerful.
It's mega powerful. And actually, I think that any kids that come to me and says, I've got an idea for a business, and here we go, and if they've had a think about it, we'll give them a space for free. You know, it's that kind of, that's about community investment.
Yeah.
And I certainly see as we evolve, I see us hopefully doing more of that sort of stuff.
Fantastic. Well, David, I think this is a fantastic space. I think it's truly unique. I think what you're doing is amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I think the viewers will really enjoy this interview.
Pleasure. Even though we hadn't had a cup of coffee, and even though it was a bit garbled, and even though I probably spoke for way too long, thank you very much for coming in and seeing the space.
Perfect nuggets. Thank you so much. Take care.
Pleasure.
Go on, see.